The time has come. 4, 5 red lights. Three wide through turn 3. Oh, into the wall!
I knew this would happen. I knew they wanted to try something.
AMR have gotten their wish. A 1-2 for the team. Another victory for VNT to put the cherry on top of their dominance. Oh, goodness me, that's gone not incredibly how it was meant to. Good evening and welcome, everybody. I am here, so is Ollie for this one. Let's go to the... Not sure why the camera's not working. It's definitely working within the stream. But good evening and welcome, everyone, for round 2 of CSS. Season 7, not Season 6, at the stunning circuit Zandvoort in the Netherlands. And today we're in for an action-packed race. I'm certain for it. One of the most technical and challenging circuits on the calendar. Now, if you did miss last week's race, let's have a quick highlights before I tell you about how you can get the recap, which I'll promote more in a minute. Max Power DNF'd in qualifying after hitting the wall, which was quite entertaining in itself. Well, I say entertaining in a very odd fashion, but not entertaining in Max Power for them. They also drifted back onto the track in the second Degner in a very spectacular manner. David Bands then picked up a 10-second penalty going into the pits. The battle for the season is looking very much like a VNT versus reigning champions Shazoo Cedar Igniters. Voller and Max van der Geest, had an incredible battle throughout. Just after the safety car. OMB looked quite competitive as well, and David Bands succeeded in holding off both VNT drivers to ensure that a victory was available there for Volakongen. But that was just a quick recap through all this. There is an incredible recap that CSS has done, and you can find that on the YouTube channel. I am joined by Ollie. Ollie, welcome along for our first round of the season, but it's the second round of the season here in Competitive Speed Series.
Yeah, good to be back, Gareth. Yeah, a couple of weeks off in the break. Unfortunately, obviously, yourself and I busy during the first round, but good to be back and around a fantastic circuit in Zandvoort. You know, hopefully, once my game decides to load in, I can join you. But yeah, Zandvoort, great circuit, tricky, technical, difficult to overtake. Can rain as well, so looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to it indeed. There's a fair few overtaking opportunities that we can grab through this track, but before we go to that, we should probably go to trackside and have a look at RW06 official, who's actually just pulled out of the way on their lap, so they're not going to go any further. Shazoo Finley is on a lap as they're heading down towards turn 11 into this final part of the track. And well, Shazoo they've got a completely different lineup that they had last week. No Volakongen, no David Bands. It's Finley and Silo in the box for Shazoo Cedar Igniters, maybe after being a little bit lower down in, the championship order than they were expecting, putting in what many would class as a trump card in having Silo. We've seen Silo race, and he's just got quicker and quicker through this game cycle.
He has, hasn't he? Yeah, a phenomenal talent, and one to keep an eye on this evening, and you could argue, Gareth, throughout the season. A man that was consistently up at the top during last season, and hopefully, like everyone, I'll wish them every luck this evening. Hopefully, we'll see a lot of Silo tonight. Like I said, currently P1 here in qualifying, and 2/10 ahead of his teammate.
Yeah, it's a good start if you're Shazoo Cedar Igniter fan. The VNT team also have a completely different driver lineup. He's got Lars Kramer, and Giggle is not Giggle. It's Lawrence. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Ace, please, in the chat. But yeah, Lawrence there through with a good time to display Silo for the time being, as we've seen FRT Dan throw themselves into 8th place for the time being. Let's go on board with Indian there going into 10th, so that's a respectable time. Last night, Rayan Bakar got pole on PC with a 107.555, so that will be going to be interesting to see if any of the console drivers can beat it. 0.2 of a second away. It's possible with things at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've got nice conditions today, haven't we? Everyone obviously on the soft common tyre. You know, I don't see why not, Gareth. Currently, like I said, 2/10 off what they did last night. So, and there's still plenty more time to bend in the track and rubber to be laid down. So, absolutely a possibility.
Giggle is Raphael, not Lauren. So apologies on that one. Ace can shoot me later. There's some funny names coming around on the F1 games, so forgive me with the incorrect information there. Milan DOC coming through the final few corners here. This banked bit at turn 13 and 14 is quite unique now because you don't really get so much of it in the F1 calendars throughout. So it's interesting to see it all come on through. Milan then goes 13th for the time being. AMS Devil is the only driver yet to set the a time. They've gone into the pits they've invalidated, so they weren't going quick enough. Sorry, do you need another invite? Are we at a...
No. I'm in the game.
Oh, you are? I
Just
didn't see
watching,
that.
Rizo just come into the pits here. Currently just behind his teammate in Indian in 16th and 17th for the VMV team. Sorry, I will get that right as you go on through the season. But yeah, he's coming to the pits. You only, what's that, 4 cars on track? I guess we have a bit of a gap on circuit, but it looks like both the Aston Martin cars are on circuit as we speak.
Yeah, I think maybe into the pits. I think they're just doing an in lap, as they say. As we've got Finley definitely on an out lap, as well as Samtex in 19th place. Yet to, well, their competitive lap time is a little bit off the pace at the moment, a 108.611, which is nearly a full second behind Raphael, who's claimed pole position provisionally right now, and their teammate Namsco in 4th place as well. VNT Gavroche up into 3rd, and as I was saying, it was two different VNT drivers last week. It's 2 different ones on this one. Lars Kramer and Gavroche are the drivers that are racing at round 2 here tonight, and well, there's a little bit of a consistency in both the two leading championship teams. I would say is probably, when you're looking into it, Shazoo, Cedar Igniters and the VNT teams both look very, very strong. But OMB, Ortiz there in one of them and Milan the other one, they looked really strong in Japan last week. So definitely go give the recap a watch on that one. But Finley coming around these final 2 corners as I speak, as they're looking to try and get themselves up from 6th place. But Finley is going to be just behind their teammate, but they improved, but not by a lot.
No, it wasn't much on improvement there. He was quickest in Sector 1, Gareth Brun Purple, but yeah, slipped off slightly through it there. But again, has put himself on the second row of the grid for now. But again, it feels like we've so many drivers coming through. There's still 9 minutes left of the session, plenty of time for that to come down again. And like I said, he's got to find just over 2 tenths to take pole. So we'll see. I'm sure he'll come out again, but yeah, I think a bit of a mistake through the middle sector to improve on for Finley this evening.
There was an improvement there by Samtex to put themselves into 16th place. It's a good start for them. Lars Kramer just about to start a lap time, but we're on board with RW06 official. See what the Ferrari driver can do. But looking a little bit slow through that. And Silo then, beats Raphael's time by 0.5 tenths of a second. So letting the gauntlet down a little bit, and official is definitely going slower on this occasion. So let's see what Lars Kramer can do. They're on a lap time, 0.5 tenth of a second up themselves. It'll only be enough. Well, it'll keep them in 8th place. They need to find more in this lap.
Yeah, he's got 1 heavy break to go, really, hasn't he? But he's got to make sure coming out of turn 11 to be as smooth as possible. Try and maintain as much momentum as he can through this left-hander before he comes around to the final corner. Some slow cars ahead of him. Hopefully they get out the way as they're starting their laps. But round this final banked corner for Lars Kramer, flat out, he might get some slipstream from the car ahead, one of the McLarens, but it crosses the line and it is an improvement up into 5th. But again, just ahead, still ahead of his teammate. But yeah, still time to find there, Gareth. It's so, there's 5 drivers in the 17.9, so it's getting very close on circuit at the moment. There's still like I've said, plenty of time left in session for improvements.
It'll be interesting to see how a lot of these drivers can handle the pressure. Rizor definitely down on their lap time, unfortunately. What about the driver? Max Breaker in 20th place currently. Coming through these final few corners, can they do anything? DRS flap opens as they head on down the start-finish straight for their second time run. Got a bit of a DRS advantage from the slipstream advantage, I should say, from the driver ahead, which puts them up into 12th. Official goes 10th, their teammate. Napsco coming around the final few corners. Can they do anything? Put themselves up a little bit higher up in the board, up into 4th. This is looking very, very tasty with some of these times coming in.
Yeah, they are. They're getting closer and closer, aren't they? That 4th down to 9th is unbelievably close, all within the 0.9. So it's you've got the top 3 who are almost in their sort of a league of their own, maybe. Gareth, the top 3, but while everyone else is a bit more still very close. But yeah, it's trying to find it. It feels Zandvoort, such a small circuit, so tight. It's very much feels like a Hungary, or maybe not a Monaco as such, but it's difficult to find space on circuit. But they've just about managed to do it, most of the drivers. But it's at the start of about 5 minutes ago, well, maybe not 5, but it was very congested on circuit. But it's now spaced out, and everyone has most people have peeled back into the pits.
Have indeed, and Sam Text, I believe, is the next driver to do an outlap. Well, they're on the outlap, and maybe they'll be doing something from a point of view. I don't think anyone else is putting a good lap in. Gavroche it was quicker, but not enough to displace their teammate for the time being.
Yeah, I think he was 0.018, I think, quicker there from Gavroche, but not enough to, like I said, to move his teammate, and he's stuck in 7th for now. But look at the top guys, it's especially team wise. You've got both, obviously, the SCIs up there, both the RSC guys up there. It's all very close at the top, Gareth. So from a team point of view, it's great for those in this qualifying session. But I appreciate the race is a different thing. But Zandvoort can be difficult to overtake at. So if they can get high up in quali, it's going to make all the difference come race time.
Well, indeed, as we continue watching what Samtex can do through the middle sector at the moment. It's heavy braking into turn 9, and well, they're looking relatively solid, but the car does seem to be squirming a little bit at the back end, which could cost them a little bit of time through all this as they head on down through this back straight, which is one of 2 DRSs. They are quicker than their previous lap time, so it could be enough to put them up a few places in this order right now.
Absolutely, and if you believe the mini-map, he's purple in the middle sector as well, so flat out around this final corner here, hugs the inside line, and is flat out towards the start-finish line here, and it is an improvement by 0.162 that puts him up into 15th for now, just ahead of his teammate in Devil in 17th, but again, he should just be able to get back in time to do one more flying lap here, but 3 cars on circuit, but I'm sure we'll see a heap of cars coming out of the pits very shortly, Gareth, to do one final flying lap here in Zandvoort.
We will wait and see, indeed. But the problem with leaving it, well, Raphael has done it early. They've left the pits very, very early, unless they want to do a second installation lap to make sure their tyres are up to pressure, and, well, I say pressure, up to temperature. They're going to come a cropper because there's a lot of cars exiting the pit lane right now, and this could cost them possibly pole position because they are looking quick, but they come out at the wrong time, I think.
Yeah, well, he's now crossing the start-finish line to enter in turn 1, isn't he? And there's 2 cars just in the pit lane alone coming out there. They should get out the way, but how many? There's, well, maybe 8 cars ahead of him now that he may have to overtake, and obviously they'll get out the way, but it's distracting for him, isn't it? There's something that you don't have to have if he was maybe out slightly earlier, slightly later, so we'll see how he negotiates this part now as he comes through sector number 1. I don't think there was any improvement there either, so we'll see how he negotiates the rest of the lap here.
pressure through and more cars ahead, and they're past the point of no return with ERS as well. So these cars have got to get out of the way, and they're maybe getting a little slipstream though from Namsco. That could be beneficial. They are slightly up on their lap time, enough to displace Silo for pole position for the time being. Cars are darting out of the way to make sure they're outside of Raphael's point of view, and through the final two corners then for Raphael. Are they going to do anything to Silo's time? Silo's time is not going to be beaten by Raphael. Let's go on board with Silo, who's just about to start their lap.
Yeah, it comes through this undulating turn 2 and 3. It feels like a roller coaster driving through that part of the circuit. Well, most of the circuit, it feels like that maybe in this first sector especially. It comes over the brow of the hill, down right hand, and he's getting quicker in this first sector for Silo. Heavy brake zone into turn 8, round this long turn 9 towards turn 10. No cars ahead of him should hopefully not get any distractions here. Most of these cars are now on their flying lap, so he should be able to get away with that. But again, current pole man, Raphael not close enough to make a push on it on this occasion. But can anyone else? Because a little bit deep through turn 12 there, Gareth, that might cost him.
Let's see how the rest of the lap will pan out, coming into 13 now, and then into this banker of 14. Well, should hug as much as they can to the inside for it, but they're not doing it as much as other drivers have across the line. It is quicker, and my goodness me, it's only just, but it's enough to make sure that Silo is going to be on pole position. Is Lars on a competitive lap time? I don't think they are. Gravroch, however, is pushing harder on this lap. Let's see what they can do. There's a fair few drivers going very, very slowly in Sector 3, but Gavroch is going to be the driver to watch at the moment because, well, we know how quick VNT can be, and they also come up with some weird and wonderful strategy calls in the race, which will keep everyone thinking. But, well, there goes Zane, the Sauber driver, the TRT driver of Zane, up into 5th place. We've not spoken much about TRT, but all of a sudden throwing themselves in with a really good lap time. And look at the, from 4th, from Namsco, which is 107.9 dead, all the way to Christian in 10th, all within that time frame. Gavroch, however, breaks into the 107.8s.
Yeah, good lap time from Roger up into 4th place. Another lap, maybe? Could be. I'll keep an eye on him. Just on board with Finley, Gareth. He is up on his lap time, coming through the middle sector, around the final corner here for the SCI driver. Can he drop down a bit because of others improving? Checker flag is out now as he crosses the line. Can he improve? Up into 4th for Finley.
Anything, Namsco won't go any quicker. They were quicker in Sector 1 on their previous lap time, but it's come across cropper for them. Max Breaker goes into 6th place, dropping Namsco down into 8th now, so they won't go any quicker than that. Siab, are you on a lap time as you're coming through? Looking very tentative in the Aston Martin. I don't think they are going any quicker. RWB 2004 could very well be on a lap time. No, they are going into the pits as well. So Siab's going in, and I think that is all she wrote for qualifying here tonight. And Silo, well, Raphael unable to go quicker in their previous, in their last runs than Silo's second run, but Silo managed to go even quicker. That's a good well, for a track this tight, it's a good position for Silo to be in because it's a short run to turn 1.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's so difficult to make a move into turn 1. I said even if you're on the front row trying to get a move on the inside, but it's quite a wide turn 1 though, Gareth. So you can go side by side, even 3 abreast through there. So he may have an opportunity, but we'll see once we get into the race. But yeah, unbelievably close. The whole grid was split by 7/10, Gareth. That's how close it was this evening in quali. So yeah, I'll let you do the rundown quickly.
It's Silo on pole with Raphael in 2nd, 3rd to Ortiz, 4th to Finley, Gavroch in 5th, 6th to Max Breaker, 7th to Lars Kramer, 8th to Namsco, Zane in 9th, 10th to Siab. Then you got Christian, Dan, RWO6 official, Boompai, Milan, Samtex, RWB 2004, AMS Devil, Rizzo and Indian there, rounding out the rest of the drivers in this circuit. Now, I am just going to try and quickly make sure that our cameras work, but I don't understand why they're not.
Well, you're the technical guy on this duo, Gareth, not me. So I'll leave it up to you.
There's finally it's kicked into gear. No, it hasn't. What on earth is going on? Is that better? Yeah, there we go. I can see my face again. Wow, unbelievable. Let's just turn that up slightly, just so I can hear you, because unfortunately I've made it very quiet on my end. It's Zandvoort is a very tricky track, isn't it? It's a technical circuit where, track position is key, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the main area of taking this is through from turn 1 to turn 3. We have seen move down to turn 11, but you've got to be incredibly close through 9 and 10 to get that opportunity. So ultimately, it's going to be through that first part, excuse me, of the circuit. With that DRS assistance coming down the main straight here and off the banked corner of 14 to great opportunity to make any overtakes, but we could see some elbows out through, especially the first part of the race, Gareth. You know how tight that first section is, and we could see, hopefully we don't, but we could see a safety car due to an incident through that first section of the circuit.
We could do indeed. Let's have just a reminder of the standings as things are, because, well, let's be brutally honest. It's only been one round, so it doesn't really change too much, and there's plenty of rounds to go this season. So Ventauri topping the lead at the moment with 59 points, with Anobi Esports in 4th. Shazoo Cedar Igniters, the reigning champions, in 3rd place. And then AMS in 4th on 20. Then you've got FRT, Tatum, All Elite Racing Team, RSC, IRT, and VMV there. All teams collecting points, which is good to see nonetheless. While qualifying is completed and done and dusted, qualifying is absolutely key because of the opportunities being limited, because of the nature of the tight and twisty circuit that befalls us tonight. But there are a few overtaking opportunities. Turn 1, a Tarzanbocht, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, at the end of the main straight is probably your best chance at an overtake here, especially the DRS helping you into that heavy DRS braking zone. Exit of turn 10 into the braking zone for turn 11 is also a good opportunity. Now, not a classic or opportune overtaking opportunities, but the banked corners of turn 3 and 14 through alternate lines make it also an opportunity. But I don't know how many we're going to see tonight. But I think, the track punishes impatience, with qualifying being key. Who do you think is going to take victory tonight? And let us know in the chat as well, because it would be great to have your thoughts.
I think ultimately, with the pace that the guys had, I think it's difficult to not to begin in the top 4, really, Gareth. The top 4 were sort of another a leap ahead of the rest of the grid. And Silo's time was very good, and Raphael in second could maybe get it, but for me, from looking through the grid, I know how good Silo is, so I'm gonna pick the man who called a pole for the race win this evening, Gareth.
It really does depend whether we're going to get a safety car like we did in the PC side of things, but I think I'm going to have to be boring and follow suit for our first round of the season anyway. But it is round 2 of the season. Next week we have Jeddah, and that is always proven to be an absolute incredible race. Whenever we've commentated on, we've done 100% race commentary in the past, and that was something incredible. But there is 15 rounds to this season, and also a reverse Silverstone at round 7, which will just make things very, very entertaining nonetheless. We are just waiting for the drivers to get themselves ready. There is a possibility of a 2-stop strategy. We've seen punctures in the past. And you know what? I'm not 100% sure what is going to befall us tonight here in Zandvoort, but with it being such a tight a track to overtake, it always throws up some sort of strategy masterclass to watch.
It does, yeah. It's you've got to play strategy right this evening because it's so difficult to overtake, and you've got to be open to adaptation because of the option for where there could be safety car, you could have damage, and you've got to look at an alternative strategy. You know, we could have rain. It's quite grey on the screen the moment, so that's something else that could play into the driver's hands, pro or negative, depending on how much practice they've done in the rain. So, yeah, it's definitely it's not as straightforward as maybe a larger thing like a Monza or a Silverstone, Gareth, where it's a bit more tricky. So, we'll see how the drivers negotiate this evening, and yeah, hopefully we have a fantastic and entertaining race tonight.
We are just waiting for the drivers to, well, basically press a button and say they're ready effectively on this one. But you know what? It's going to be interesting into turn one. I've said it's a short run into there, but if Raphael really wants to throw a cat amongst the pigeons and cause an incident early doors, then we're going to have two incredibly quick drivers coming through the field. But let's go to trackside because we're on 4-5 red lights here in Competitive Speed Series. Round 2 is underway, and it's a pretty decent start for the guy on pole, but the driver in second had a terrible getaway. Ortiz has managed to claim the position away from Raphael. Raphael stuck behind that Williams, just trying to find a way through, but there's no way through. Gavroch, I think, and Finley have possibly swapped positions as well through all this, and this is, well, a very entertaining start because Finley's still all over the back of Gavroch as they come through turns 7 and 8 into 8. There's just no way through for Finley right now.
No, not at the moment. He's at the part so it's quite difficult, especially with no DRS enabled just yet. Tries to take a slightly wider line through turn 10. They're trying to get an advantage, but it doesn't work on this occasion for Finley. Just on Raphael Gareth in dropping number 3. Just a lot of wheels off the line, and Ortiz had a great start and around the outside, easy as he liked before they even got to turn 2. So good move from Ortiz, and he's looking race behind our race leader in Silo at the moment. Sure, once that DRS is enabled, we should see Ortiz come on the attack and try and take first place off Silo here at Zandvoort. DRS is now enabled.
Here we go. Let's just have a look. I say let's have a look. Let's just speak about the tyre situation. Everyone is on as we go side by side between Christian and, or is it Official and Samtex even. Samtex on a set of soft tyres, the only driver on the grid to be on that sort of set of tyres, while Silo, Ortiz are on hard and medium respectively between the two of them. So there is a complete difference in strategy through all the field, which is going to make it all the more interesting to get through this one. The problem being, though, is I think Silo is bringing Ortiz and Raphael along for fun, and Gavroch on those hards struggling a little bit. Saying that, picked up the pace a little bit, nearly dropping out of the DRS of the driver ahead, just behind. Siab on the mediums, can't find a way through on Lars, and we're going to see a fair bit of this tonight because of the DRS trains that can form.
Yeah, we are. We do see gaps down the form already, and like I said, those separate trains coming along, but DRS is wide open for Ortiz. He is gaining rapidly on Silo, has to fly to the inside and should make that move. Stickers Ortiz new fast lap of the race, so 11.4. But unfortunately, Silo going to sit duck there with no DRS full man in the lead of the Grand Prix, and we have a new race leader in ONB Ortiz, Gareth.
So OMB driver deciding to go for the quicker and maybe going for track position through all this, as FRT Dad getting through on their teammate there just ahead. And there's more side-by-side action between AMS Devil and TRT Christian coming through, and this is going to be very, very sketchy moment here as they head on through turn 7, and somehow they've managed to come through unscathed. I'm not sure how through all that, because it looked like one of them, if not both, were going to go careering into the wall. Back up to the leaders. Let's have a look and see how Silo responds to Ortiz. Obviously being on the harder compounder, slower compounder tyre, will they try and attack come down turn 1?
I think I would. Ultimately, it's it's out of the dirty air, isn't it? You sat behind it and can affect your car here. So we'll see how he does here. DRS is wide open. He's going to get close enough coming to turn 1. Ortiz goes defensive. Can Sala go around the outside here? Doesn't decide to attack our race leader here. Like I said, guys, maybe feels he doesn't need to at this moment, but he's got to be careful because Raphael is right on his gearbox. Both on the same compound tyre, so they may be working together. Well, maybe in some way, shape or form, but ideally if Silo can get Finley a bit closer, that would be helpful. Finley's got to be, well, he's lucky for him, Sieb is outside that second window now in 6th place, so Finley can just stay with Gavroche here, should hopefully, for him anyway, and his team, to claw his way back near his teammate in 2nd place.
There's a few swapping drivers throughout. Lars Kramer was able to, well, was outside the DRS from some Sieb ahead, but managed to bring it back through that first sector, showing that the hard compound tyres will still be very well liked at this stage in the Grand Prix as we go and just see Samtex, who was on the set of softs, who flew up the field, is now dropping down the field, probably because they're on a set of soft tyres.
Yeah, it could well be those tyres won't do the distance, unfortunately. Again, no move from Silo through turn 1 and through turn 2. Gavroche looking, trying to get past Raphael, but again, not close enough at the moment. Yeah, I think Silo obviously knows his tyres will go further than Ortiz here, so ultimately doesn't need to overtake at this point in the race. He's going to maybe wait until Ortiz's tyres start to fall off and then he can pounce. But the pit stop for Indian down in 20th, unfortunately, didn't see what happened. To see what tyres he got. Let's have hard compound tyres for him, as we've got a move between Finley and Sieb. Sorry, and it looks like Gareth, Finley's gone into the grass here, green all over the tyres. Didn't see what happened there, but he dropped down to 7th now.
Not ideal for the Shishou Cedar Igniter driver, and they don't want to be dropping down the border anymore. They are on a set of mediums, and they need to be making those tyres work in their favour. But all of a sudden, dropping 2 places in a matter of moments and dropping behind the V&T driver of Lars Kramer, who is on a set of hard compounded tyres. This split strategy doesn't look like it's going to be working too well for SCI at the moment, and Ortiz losing the lead again to Silo. I say again, for the second time the race lead has changed. Raphael was not close enough to pick anything out of that, as Milan pits as well. Samtex is falling further down the order, being on a set of softs. You would think that they would need to pit sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you'd think. Is trying to hold his own, but like I said, he is dropping down, isn't he? Sam needs to. Well, like I said, at one point he was 5 places up from where he started, Gareth. Now back to where he started this Grand Prix in 16th. So, yeah, not sure those tyres are going to do the distance. It needs to maybe think about switching onto the mediums or the hards. Not sure what strategy he's going to do on this occasion, but we'll keep an eye on Sam in 16th. Silo took the lead back, Gareth, from Ortiz, and has already gapped him 7/10. So Ortiz maybe pushing his mediums a bit hard in these early stages, and he's now lost a bit of time to our former race, our pole man, and now leader of the Grand Prix in Silos, begin lap 7 of 36.
Sieb decides to pit. That enough is enough on those medium compounded tyres. You can take them a little bit further than this, but if you're opting for that 2-stop strategy onto a set of hards just to ensure that you've got the tyre life, then that could be why. But also, I don't want to spark any fears to the engineers or anyone watching. The clouds are looking rather grey, aren't they? Could we have another spanner in the works in this Grand Prix? We've not spoken about rain, have we? And if rain comes, then it completely throws everything out the water.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, you can see these grey clouds forming in certain parts of the circuit as the drivers are going round, and it could well be some rain inbound as we progress through this Grand Prix, but we'll have to wait and see. Ortiz losing a little bit more time to our race leader now. Is 9/10, splitting himself and our race leader now is a second. He was within the window just then, but Gareth, it could be The top 4 have broken away from the rest of the drivers, so but it could be first place running away, and then it's a fight for P2 then at the front of the grid. So keep an eye on these gaps. They are changing every corner as we roll around this track here in Zandvoort.
It is crucial that Ortiz was within the second at the exit of turn 12, because that's where the DRS detection point is, and that could be the only reason why Ortiz is still there at this point in time. Christian having a massive back out of step there, for I'm not 100% sure why, from the exit of turn 4 there. Just the back end just wasn't liking it at all. Let's have a look and at Ortiz's point of view. Deciding to go for a set of medium compound tyre. They're going to get DRS as they head down from turn 10 to turn 11. So they'll pick some of this time back up. But Silo is just so quick in these corners. Outside of a second mark, Ortiz could then now be a sitting duck to Raphael behind as they head through the final few corners. It's looking greyer and greyer here in Zandvoort, in the dunes of Netherlands. Are we going to see some rain? This could throw things right into a weird thing as Raphael takes second place away from the ONB driver.
Yeah, easy move for Raphael there, who didn't defend it, knowing the overspeed from the Mercedes there. Now he's the front of the train. Can he close 3/10 down to get within the DRS of the race leader? We'll have to wait and see, but maybe, Gareth, those mediums aren't feeling it as official has made a mistake there. Look, like he's lost a few places. Side-by-side action, Gareth, between Dan and I think that's Christian. They're still side-by-side as they come through. Oh, there's a contact, and the Sauber's around. Well, no, not around, but almost losing out, but loses 2 places there. Somehow keeps that car pointing straight, and luckily doesn't look like any damage to that car. Just looking on the front wing. No, it looks all okay to me, but a dicey moment between 2 drivers there.
Not ideal, unfortunately, and then, well, went back on board with Dan to see if there was any damage to the Alpine, and then Namsco went off the track and allowed Zane through. So, drivers making mistakes. Is it meaning that the track temperature is getting colder and the tyres aren't, well, performing as they should? Or could it just be that the tyres are running low on performance right now? As we'll just have a look to see. It's all a little bit of a train, but from 4th to 5th, it's now 3 seconds. Gavroche is a second behind Raphael, who's just over a second behind Silo. It's not safety distance, but it gives you a little bit of breathing room. And I say that, Gavroche is catching back up to Raphael. This could be an epic battle for P2.
Yeah, quickest first sector time as well for Gavroche there. So, man on a mission trying to keep up with the man in second place. And Raphael not closing that gap down by much between himself and Silo's. Come down by a 10th so far, but we'll see if he can close it down enough for the DRS to be re-enabled on his Mercedes here. And said Ortiz struggling a lot, but Lars is not catching. Lars is 2.6 seconds behind. It's looking pretty dicey between a few drivers behind Lars. He's got a queue of cars all the way down to, well, almost, I'd say, RWB 2004. So we'll see if Lars can hold his own here. Finley not close enough, I don't think, on this occasion. But there's some other drivers who are a bit closer. But again, you've got this DRS train that has formed here, so no one really making any moves, or close enough anyway to make any moves and determine what it looks like.
Finley's doing a really good job of holding on to those mediums as well. You see the drop off from Ortiz. Finley's kind of stayed in this position. We'll see Finley drop and the pace drop in this sector. And maybe I've said this a little bit too soon because they're dropping away from Lars Kramer quite rapidly. But still about half a second. This is an interesting one to watch because we saw Ortiz lose about a second and a half to Gavroche for the battle for P2 or P3 when as soon as they hit turn 13, wasn't able to put the power down anywhere near as quickly. But Finley's keeping up with it and is 0.8 of a second behind. If they can just keep it up for one more lap, then Ortiz is going to be slowing this pack down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this just needs to make sure he stays in that DRS zone. But look how close Zane is to the back of Finley. He may even, with the DRS, because of how close Zane is to the back of Finley, still could get past here. It'd be a fantastic helicopter view coming through the final corner. Round we go. Can Finley hold off the cars behind? Can he maybe even get Lars here? No, just short coming into turn one there. No move, I don't think, from any of the drivers behind either, but it's a bunch of cars together. They're all so close together. It's bound to, someone's bound to make a move at one point and disrupt the train. I'm sure maybe on the next lap.
Let's see how it will continue to battle down. This is a good battle to continue watching at the moment. Raphael is within scratching distance of Silo's DRS, and actually I think they have caught into it, and Silo now is going to be under pressure for the first time in a few laps now, as Lars building a little bit of a gap to Ortiz again through all this. Finley is going to have to try their best to hold on to something, because those tyres don't look like they're holding on to anything. I don't think it's rubber right now. It's probably metal rim, because they just can't keep the grip to Lars ahead. But somehow it's looking like it's going to be another lap of keeping within that DRS.
Yeah, luckily for them as well, Lars has caught Ortiz here as well, as Ortiz pulls into the pits. Finley stays out for another lap. Any moves behind? I don't think we're going to see anything here. No moves as of yet, but is that oh no, maybe it's just, is that rain, Gareth, or is that just the sparks of some of the cars maybe? Do you think it's a spark of the car? No rain as of yet. DRS still enabled at the moment, but those clouds are getting greyer and greyer.
I think it's rain.
Do you think oh no, it is?
It is raining.
Yes, it is.
Here in Zandvoort. Our wildest dreams have come true. The Netherlands has, well, let's not go with what I was going to say. But wow, what a way for us to really kick into gear. Is this the reason why Silo's, lost all that momentum? Is Raphael going to be able to make a move as Zane gets past? Or Finley, and this is going to be a drag down to turn 11. It's still side by side. Zane has got to make sure they give a driver's width, and they have done. That is very, very good racing. Finley trying to switch back through, but there's nothing happening on the moment. There's a little bit of contact, but not much, as now everyone is going into the pits, other than Gavroche. Right now, are we going to see a load of drivers onto the set of intermediate tyres? This is, what a way to spice up this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's ready for Inters or Gareth. We've had Ortiz has come into the pits and put Inters on the previous lap, so I don't know whether it's the track is wet enough at the moment. There's no trying to find someone. There's no spray at the moment, so DRS still enabled. I think we've still got another lap or so to go. Ortiz, where has he hopped out on? There he's 14th at the moment. Yeah, he was he 5 seconds behind Silo and Raphael, and now I think it's a bit further than that at the moment. But yeah, everyone onto Inters, but I think we've still got another lap or so gap before we need these tyres.
Oh, Lars Kramer seems to be struggling with the back end grip as they head through turn 10. That's not ideal for them. Where is Gavroche in all this? They are 18 seconds in front of Silo as things stand. Do they risk another lap, or do they stay out? There looks like a lot of gravel at the exit of turn 13. Silo has dispatched Max Breaker, and into the pits the VNT driver does go. Didn't want to go in, get involved in traffic, and this could be a very shrewd move from the VNT team. Let's see how Silo gets through all this. They're a second and a half in front of Raphael as things stand. Down the start-finish straight they go. Where is Gavroche in all this? Where are they in the pit lane? They've dispatched the VNT driver by some margin.
Yeah, I thought it might be. Yeah, maybe. I think I was wrong, Gareth, in the fact that they timed it perfectly on the previous lap with the pits up here as Gavroche struggling on his on the tyres here as he comes out to the pits. But yeah, DRS is now being disabled here. The queue of cars that are currently stuck behind Ortiz. We'll see how he managed to hold these guys off here, but all back to where they were. Really, I'm trying to think who's. I think officials jumped up quite a significant amount here, Gareth. Places wise with an early pit stop from the guys behind him, so he'll be happy with that. But can he maintain this 5th place? We'll have to keep an eye. But Ortiz holding the train here, a big tank slap from official, and Lars throws it up the inside through turn 10 here. Can he make that work? Yes, he can. And Lars takes 5th place off the Ferrari.
Exactly what the VNT driver needed to do, and the ONB driver of Ortiz going to have to continue on through that. And that, well, it's definitely raining now, isn't it? If you were thinking it was going to be Inter's a lap ago, they definitely didn't want to stay out another lap. Unfortunately, Sieb, the IRT driver down in 19th place, has done just that and is dropping down the order quicker than I would in intermediate tyres, let alone dry tyres. Silo leads the Grand Prix by 1.6 seconds. Gavroche a further 2.4 seconds as Finley and the TRT driver of Christian, squabbling away as they head through turn 2 and into turn 3, and Finley loses a position.
Yeah, Christian bullies his way through, had the inside through turn 1 and maintained his pace through the next 2 or 3 corners and moves up into P8 behind his teammate Zane. Finley struggling at the moment. He's now got Namsco for company in P9, P10 for Namsco. So keep an eye on these two. Finley again needs to get into a rhythm here in these damp conditions. The top 3 have checked out, really, haven't they, Gareth? There's a massive gap between Gavroche and Ortiz, and Christian goes round the outside of his teammate, but trying to, at the moment, side by side between them both, maybe team orders from the TRT team. It's a bit of a tongue twister. So Christian just behind his teammate still, Zane holding off for now. But yeah, we'll see how these two negotiate as they work together, maybe, as they come round the final corner.
I think TRT need to get involved here because Christian definitely looks the more comfortable in these wet conditions, and if they want to be battling a little bit higher up, I think last week in Japan they had such a good race, but it just kind of fell away in the end from them, and they weren't able to get good points. They've got good drivers who are very similar pace as a whole. Just right now, Zane is catching RWO6 official back up, so this could be fine. But while the action I think is going to be even more frantic, it's also going to be few and far between. We're going to have different action now. It's wet, and I won't lie, it excites me from how this race is going to turn out. I think we've got our podium position sorted out, but the rest of the grid is anyone's game.
Absolutely, yeah, and with these tricky conditions, Gareth, that mistakes are more susceptible in, like I said, in these damp conditions. So any small mistake can cost you a lot more than it would maybe in the dry. So see how drivers negotiate this. Ortiz still managing to hold 4th place. He's dropped quite a significant amount to Gavroche in 3rd, now 9.9 seconds. But Lars just not close enough on this occasion. I think anyone is too close at the moment. Just looking through the order, Milan and Indian are quite close back in 17th and 18th, but no moves from anyone as of yet. Not close enough. But yeah, I guess obviously Lars just not quick enough at the moment to get past Ortiz to move on and try and catch the teammate. You've got yellow flags in the final corner. I think that's I think is that Sieb or that's Sam maybe made a mistake and he's coming into the pits here.
What an unfortunate race for them, slowing down. I don't know if that's front wing damage that's a retirement for the TTM driver, and that is the AMS driver, or TTM Samtex, let's say, which is unfortunate for them. Sieb retiring, pitting as well. Is that for retirement? It is. That's unfortunate. They stayed out a lap too long, and I think the strategy just went against them on that occasion. Ortiz still holding station at the moment, and I think what Ortiz has in abundance is straight line speed, which is kind of what Lars Kramer is struggling against.
It looks like, yeah, just keep an eye on the gaps between the two drivers that come on to the straight here, and that is it. Yeah, it's not really changing much. It's coming down slightly, but like I said, I think Ortiz is set up has worked in his favour in these damp conditions down that pit straight and holding his own at the moment. Lars just not quick enough in the middle part of the circuit to get by our 4th place man at the moment, and Lars not able to obviously chase down his teammate in 3rd place. Now 10.7, splitting third and fourth. The top three, I think, like I said, we may know that already, Gareth, but everyone else, I think everything is still very much to play for.
It certainly is. Ortiz still holding station at the well at the time being. They are, the three drivers are pulling slightly away from the two TRT drivers and Finley. Namsco is dropped away from Finley, and there's a dive up the inside of Ortiz into turn 10 from Lars Kramer, trying to find new and inventive ways to overtake and put your driver off ahead without causing a collision, of course, is the best way for it. Dan getting past Namsco, but still no way through for Lars Kramer right now.
No, I think Lars made a move past Official in sixth at the same corner, so I think trying to surprise Ortiz may be the best port of call to get by the... and that is Lars in the wall as well. Is that damage to the front left, maybe? No, it's not. Or maybe it was just a glitch on my side, guys, but hitting the wall maybe there from the Red Bull cab, but again, not close enough to make a move on this occasion. You've got Namsco and Rizzo dueling away, and after Dan got past, Namsco not allowing the McLaren through at the moment. In the background as well, you've got RWB and Devil side by side, and Devil gets past the other Alpine car here through turn 2 up through turn 3, so still plenty of overtaking happening even in these tricky conditions, Gareth.
Which is what you want to see, but Namsco just really struggling. Maybe it's a straight line setup, or the setup that they've got on is more down for dry conditions and they weren't expecting rain to hit, or are we going to see a dry patch towards the end of the race? It feels like I've said it, when it happened in with the wet. Are we going to have a super interchangeable conditions? Wow, that was a tongue twister that I was not expecting in this race. It doesn't look like it. The clouds are very grey and the rain only looks like it's getting harder and harder. Silo pulling further away, 2.3 seconds in front of Raphael. Gavroche is 3.1 seconds further down. We're on lap 21 of 36. This has been a very, very entertaining race with different strategies on board. But right now, we're on board with Namsco trying to defend from Rizzo behind, and that would be a great result if the VMV driver can get past Namsco, because it just means more points to them.
Yeah, the other Indian in 17th, struggling in these conditions, can't keep up with Boom in 16th place here, and he's got Milan behind him, dueling away. They've been quite close all race, so he, for VMV, Rizzo needs to obviously try and push Namsco here. He has been able to get side by side with him, so definitely he's got the pace to get by and get into P11 here. We'll have to wait and see how it all obviously pans out. Still plenty of laps to go here, but just trying to see where the gap between 6th and 7th is coming down again, Gareth, but it's still Zane ahead here. He's not allowed Christian through, so obviously has figured something out on his settlement and now able to keep up pace, but we'll see if he can. But look at Official here again, looking very quick. We could see a move into turn 1. Lars going defensive, but Official trying to squeeze on the inside here, hits the wall. Both drivers almost end up in the gravel trap at turn 1. Somehow both cars still pointing forward, but that could have ended in tears between the both drivers. Lars squeezing the Ferrari and is pushing him through turn 3 here. I think the elbows are finally out between these two.
Goodness me, and that could just give Ortiz the breathing room they need just to prolong those intermediate tyres a little bit more. Lars is definitely going to be, I'm not sure. I'll leave this to the stewards to make their call, but that was very tight going into the pit wall for turn 1. And, Official and Lars Kramer are going to go battling once again. Maybe in a few laps we'll let Official recharge their batteries, but this is looking very, very spicy between those two drivers.
Yeah, and any mistake that they make, I'm sure the TRT team will lap up here. Both drivers hoping to try and get ahead of these two drivers at one point, but at the moment, no moves as of yet. Just, I think he's too far back on this occasion. 5/10 between 5th and 6th here, so no moves. I can't imagine through into turn 1. No, not on this occasion. But keep an eye on these gaps. Just looking at Finley in a sort of a world of his own in 9th place, and then you've got Dan, Namsco, and Rizzo, and then you've got Devil, who's caught up to the back of the McLaren here as well. So those are not out of the woods just yet. They need to try and keep pushing to stay ahead of the Haas car, the AMS team there. The only one left in this race, unfortunately, with Sam retiring earlier on in the session. But just back to official Gath looking very close on this occasion. Only 3/10 splitting them. Keep an eye on these gaps.
Yeah, this is going to be, well, definitely one to watch because it's allowed TRT to get involved. And I think Ortiz has done a job of saving some ERS to try use it to later in the race, because they're gonna need that to defend from the drivers behind, as Devil and Rizzo swapping positions there. Let's just have a quick look and see if anything more from this is going to come. No, Rizzo decides to stay behind. Probably wise too as well. But it's broken up a little bit between Lars official, Ortiz, Lars official, and then Kane. They're all about 0.8 of a second between them. But are we going to see TRT swap positions? We are. Christian gets past their teammate finally. And let's see what Christian can do when it comes through all this.
Yeah, he's been behind his teammate for the majority of the race, and now been able to get by. Whether that was team orders or he got by on paper, we'll have to wait and see. But currently, what's that? He's now gone up to a second between 7th and 6th. So be careful not to drop out of the deception too much here. There is a sort of a drier line forming, as you can see on circuit, as the guys roll around the track. But yeah, keep an eye on that gap, because that will be quite crucial in the scrutiny. But Waters hasn't really had to defend Gareth. He's not, other than in one dive from Lars a few laps ago, he's held his own in 4th place and is dropping back from the top 3. And the top 3, if anything, have spaced out even more than when we were in the dry conditions. So they're almost doing a practice session, aren't they? Just going round and round, no battling, while I think everyone else is having a lot more dueling. As we'll stay on board, well, I'll stay on board with Lars here, but again, doesn't look close enough on this occasion to make a move. I think he's got to be about 3/10. Why do you say that, though, Gareth? He's gaining.
Is indeed. Let's see what Lars can do. Again, Ortiz, there's no DRS in assistance. Ortiz covers off the inside line, though I don't think they needed to on that occasion. It could, well, be to their detriment as they come through turn 2 and 3. Is there going to be a dive up the inside at turn 3? Lars thinks better of it on this occasion and will stay just sat in there. They have got 2 laps better tyre life. We've got about 11.5 laps of this race remaining, so it's definitely going to be falling into Lars's notebook to go, well, actually I'm in a better position through all this, so I can afford to stay behind for a few more laps at least.
Yeah, and ultimately he's got to. Oh, he's very close in this occasion. Guys, tries the move through turn 10. Not late on the brakes, a bit of contact there. Both drivers stay pointing in the right direction, but Lars just trying to make a move where he can. It doesn't work on that occasion, and yeah, I think like we've spoken about already, he's not got the straight line speed on the Williams ahead, and he's got to try something different.
Trying something different indeed, and something that hasn't. Well, that is very different, and that's Shazoo Cedar Igniters. One of the drivers leading, which you'd expect, but Finley down to 9th place. And again, it seems like for a second week running, that one driver is going to take victory and the other driver is going to fall down the order to points. And that's just not going to help them in the championship standings when you've got ONB. Granted that there's only one ONB driver up in there, but you've got the other team, VNT, who are 3rd and 5th. And with the point structure here at CSS going down to 15th place, it's just going to help them, the VNT, eke away maybe even a bigger lead over Shazoo Cedar Igniters as things stand. But it could all change if Lars Kramer can get past Ortiz, because Ortiz is really struggling right now.
Yeah, he is. You see a quick Lars
been on board within the last lap or so, and you can see how quick he is through this part of the circuit. He's going to go there, trying to go around the outside of this occasion, switch back to the inside, but again, Ortiz closes the door on him. In the back on Gareth, Christian and Official side by side. Didn't see that happening. Can the Ferrari, as the fight at the legs on the kit car here, late on the brakes, and he's gone deep. The TRT driver somehow keeps that car out of the gravel trap there, but that's got very tasty through turn 11 and 12 then. That could have been both cars in the wall. Somehow they both stay on the track, but yeah, Christian just couldn't get by on that occasion, and Official just about holds off and holds P6, but getting dicey as we get to the as we get closer to the end of this race. I think you see a really dry line forming on circuit as well. It looked like the Official tried to cool his tyres down there as well, going to the inside of the wetter part of the circuit. But yeah, it's getting tasty, guys. That's the the recap of this fight for P4.
This is it's great to see. Lap 27 of 36 here in the Netherlands, and well, Christian is not wanting to stay 7th place, and the TRT driver is very, very feisty right now. A swap of positions with Devil getting past Namsco, and Namsco falling down the order even further. Namsco in the dry looked very, very rapid, but in the wet, just the pace has fallen right off. And it's just not ideal for them and the team's championships hopes. The gap between Silo and Raphael is 3.4 seconds. It feels like an age since we've said those two names. They're leading this Grand Prix. Gavroche is 2.4 seconds behind Raphael, slowly catching that, reducing that gap. So can we see a VNT driver for, well, a second week running be on second place in the podium? We'll have to wait and see through that one. Still, no moves at this battle, which we're fixated on for the battle for P4.
Yes, excuse me. It's non-stop, isn't it? This fight, and there's still a sting in the tail of this race. I think with 8 laps remaining of the Grand Prix here at Zandvoort, still I'm sure plenty of moves, and when it gets to the end, I'm sure drivers will get their elbows out and try and muscle their way through to gain a couple more points potentially. So we'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, Lars trying to close the gap, and Official there. Any mistake that Lars makes, guys, Official will be right on it on his gearbox, trying to get through as well. So keep an eye on this, guys. Christian has gained that time back slightly, but Zane's still there, guys. We've not really spoken about him much since Christian got by, but still staying within touching distance of the drivers ahead. But again, not close enough. And Finley again in no man's land, not closing that gap and really staying around the 2-second mark here.
Yeah, Finley's dropped off after being overtaken by Zane and Christian. Just seems to, I think your words have put it absolutely perfectly, in no man's land. Not really being threatened from the FRT driver behind, but doesn't have the pace to deal with the drivers ahead. Looking to the inside goes Lars Kramer, but nothing doing on this occasion. And well, yeah, RW06 Official looks like they will pick up the pieces of any incident that comes between these two battling for P4. And I would say the likelihood is that RW06 Official getting that 4th place over Ortiz than Lars Kramer is quite high.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's difficult because you can see how quick Lars is through this middle section of the circuit. I think if he's going to make a move, guys, he needs to throw it down the inside through turn 3 maybe. He's so close to the back of the gearbox coming through here, but again, close through 10, goes wide, try and get a better line through towards turn 11, but makes a slight bit of oversteer from him then, won't get the power down. But yeah, I think that's his best opportunity, maybe to surprise the Williams driver, because again, we've spoken about he can't get him on the straight, just not the straight line speed, unless Ortiz makes a mistake through turn 13 here. He's just not quick enough on the straight.
So we get a really good camera angle through there as Santex has left the session after retiring a fair few laps ago. Indian is not making anything of it in the background, and there Christian again for another lap in a row, trying to cool those tyres down, maybe getting out of the dirty air of the car ahead, ensuring that the tyres survive that little bit longer than the drivers around them, maybe to set a lap of attack in a few laps' time. Don't forget, there's only like 6.5 laps of this race remaining. Silo still continually putting in what must feel like qualifying lap after qualifying lap, pulling the gap to Raphael behind them. Gavroche just in a similar sort of situation. They are, as a group, 16 seconds ahead of this battle for P4. And what does Lars Kramer do? Do they think about anything into turn 10? Not on this occasion. They've got to be smart at when they decide to throw it up the inside there, I think.
Yeah, they do. It's going to be, I think Ortiz is he knows what he's doing. He's led this train for such a long time. Lars is going to have almost like one opportunity to do it. Whether he waits to the last lap or he tries to get it done before, I don't know. But he's again, with Ortiz just lap after lap like this, he can't close that gap, Gareth. So, well, Lars is struggling a little bit to get by, but luckily for him, official has dropped back slightly, so he's not going to worry about him for now. He's going to concentrate on what's in front of him.
Finley may be starting to close the gap down to this train as well, which could suit the Suzuki Igniters driver, as there is a swap back position. Namsco and Devil still fighting away. Devil pushing Namsco a little bit too far there on the exit of turn 1 and keeping the move for P11 there. And Namsco going to continue to try and battle. So there is still a few squabbles to be finalised here. And these lower end of the points, anything and everything can mean, well, it can mean everything at the end of the season as Namsco continues to battle through. But I think we have to go back to this battle for P4 because, well, Christian and Official are back in a little bit closer than they were last lap.
Yeah, they've closed that gap, especially Official here right on the back of the Red Bull car on the exit of 12 here. Could be a good move. Just trying to get the best momentum out of this final corner is difficult on the entry of 13, round 14. It's difficult to try and maintain the speed, but I think that's was it RWB 2004 making a mistake as well. As a bit of contact there. There's more moves. Sorry, Lars has lost the place to Official through turn 1, but Lars has got the place back again. So his race is definitely not over. Lars just about holding his own. Official. Did you go too deep through there, Gareth? Through turn 1 maybe?
I don't know. I think it was always a little bit of a. And there's that Devil struggling, and Devil has struggled a lot, and they're going to be behind Milan out of all that. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but yeah, I think RW6 maybe a little oversteer, which has cost them, and they had to redirect, and they are really struggling, and now there's front wing damage to the TRT driver of Christian, and all the hard work Christian had done to ensure that they were the lead TRT driver is out the way. Surely they've just got to let their teammate Zane go and have another crack at displacing this team. But, well, Official just didn't look like they were able to control the car there.
Yeah, just went straight to the back of the Ferrari then. That's damage, like I said, to Christian's car. And he's going to struggle around the circuit now. Most likely need to let his teammate through to try and put a charge on Official in 6th place. Now it doesn't look like he's going to go. Still got the speed, it looks like. But in the background, Finley has now joined the fight. He's entered the chat, Gareth. And now we've got a, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 6 car fight for P4.
Well, that could not have worked better for Ortiz in a way, because you kind of want as many drivers in there as possible fighting away as Devil retires from the session. They've had enough, unfortunately, after that mistake on the end of this, as Milan is catching up to maybe a point scoring finish for the ONB driver. That is going to be an interesting one to see if that will come into fruition through all that. But, well, Christian, even with damage, looking relatively competitive still, but you do feel that at some point they're going to just need to let Zane go and try and have an attack. We're running out of laps.
We are, yeah. It's be 3 racing laps at the end here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he does. But he's losing time, lap on official here. Official lost a lot of time on that last lap as well to Lars. So yeah, they are spreading out and coming backwards and forwards, lap by lap. And Finley now pushing the TRT team here, coming through the first sector. So keep an eye on these gaps because they are really coming down. And Lars pushing once again. Ortiz is caught a butt. Ultimately, Gareth, he's only going to have one opportunity. Really needs to make sure he does it right. It makes that count because he's. Oh, and Ortiz makes a mistake here. Could this be the opportunity to get past Williams? No, he can't. Mistake at the exit of turn 7 there. He's going to go on the outside of turn 9. Surely not the Red Bull trying. He's been pushed onto the grass here. Doesn't allow Official to get involved. Official up the inside of the Red Bull. Damage to the Red Bull here. Official up the inside through turn 10. And he takes a place. And Christian works his way through as well. Lars loses 2 places in the matter of a corner and a half. Still holds the inside line through 12. Christian trying to hang it around the outside. Finley there in the background as well. Zane there too. There's more contact between both the drivers. And Official now takes 5th place. Officially, Gareth, as they've got 2 flying laps, or 2 racing laps remaining of this Grand Prix.
Now, there's 2 things to that. That front wing damage definitely for Lars Kramer was before, but here comes Christian up the inside. We've seen incidents up there, and there's a bit more contact. It's 4 wide through turn 1. What is going on? Finley has joined the attack. And my goodness me, the second point I was going to raise was, would that have happened had TRT allowed Zane and Christian to swap positions? Finley, oh goodness me, Zane has lost a little bit of ground, and FRT Dan is kicking all off. Oh my goodness me, it's still going wild through here. But Finley up into 8th. Had Zane been in that position instead of Christian with the front wing fully there, I don't think. I think Zane would have had that move done, and we wouldn't have had that bit of action happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all chaos ensued for a lap there. Drivers pushing to the very end here. They've got again 1 more flying that the leaders have come across the line to start their final lap here. Can Official do anything on Ortiz here? We've had 2 laps. Well, they'll have 2 laps to try and attack here with 1 lap left now for these drivers to do. Can Official do anything to take P4 off the Williams driver? Will we see more movement? We'll have to wait and see. You've got 1 more racing lap remaining.
It's all over the place. We've got Silo leading the Grand Prix halfway round their final lap, but at the moment Ortiz is holding on to 4th place for dear life. It's been an incredible 20 laps in the wet, I want to say, but all of a sudden it really has come alive. 4 wide into turn 1. I've never even thought about saying that here before, but I am going to go on board for the final few corners with Silo, who may have lost the lead for a few laps from Ortiz, who is currently in P4. It didn't matter when the rain hit because they have been imperious, impenetrable. They have been phenomenal and taken victory here in Zandvoort round 2. Raphael tried threw everything at Silo, but couldn't get close, and Gavroche rounding out the podium. But let's go back to the action for P4. Oh, there's someone off the track. Is that puncture to Finley? I'm not sure what's happened to Finley, but that is huge.
Puncture for Finley. Puncture, yeah, straight on at turn 11. And that's him. Well, he'll make it round, but he's going to lose a heap of places, Gareth.
And a second week in a row, Shizusi of Igniters is going to take victory, and their other driver fall to the wayside. Ortiz is in 4th, and my goodness me, that means that Milan will go into the point scoring positions, which will allow them the fastest point of the race award because they're in the points. My goodness me, the scenes because of Finley, and it's not the first time I've seen this happen to a driver, but my goodness me, heartbreak for the Shizou Cedar Igniters team.
Yeah, and he lost it at probably one of the worst places to lose it. Luckily, didn't go into the barrier at turn 11, Gareth, but my word, just struggled to get round there, spanned twice, and he may be able to salvage a point, but unfortunately didn't. And unfortunately, the AI has even spun it at turn 1 there. But unbelievable finish there, unfortunately for Finley. But again, like I said, Milan managing to claw his way into the points there, and he'll be happy with that. But ultimately, a race of well, ideal strategy and executed significantly well by Silo there, getting the win here at Zandvoort in tricky conditions.
My goodness me, what a race. We have literally had it all here, haven't we, Ollie? It's been a incidents and yeah, wow. Rain. What more could you ask for a Zandvoort Grand Prix to keep things interesting? Driver of the day has been given to RW06 official by the game. I'll give you a little bit of time to think on your answer while I go through the order. Silo, Raphael and Gavroch are the podium finishers. Then Ortiz, who did lead the race for a short time, in 4th place. 5th to official. 6th to Christian. Lars Kramer in 7th. 8th to Zane. 9th to Dan and Namsko rounds out the top 10. Then Rizal, Max Prika, Boom Pie, RWB 2004, and Milan rounds out the point scoring, and then Indian and Finley rounds out the finishers, with no finishing for Devil, Samtex or Sieb this evening. How do we round that one off? Because that was insane.
Yeah, it was unbelievable at the end, wasn't it? It was just, wet conditions threw up some surprises, and they definitely did there. It was a bit repetitive at times, but that I think it was like 34 when it all heated up, and only needs one mistake from one drive for chaos to ensue, and that's what we saw, didn't we? Between that 5 for P4 mistake by Ortiz was a Constantine effect behind him, and that all, as we saw on circuit, a lot of people damaging the front wings, and yeah, there could be, I'm sure, some annoyed drivers to see if we can get a damage and losing places where maybe they could have held on if they hadn't had that damage. So yeah, unbelievable finish there from the drivers, and another great race here in CSS, guys.
I'm hoping that we'll get some people in the waiting room, but the 3 drivers that finished in the podium positions probably don't have much to talk about. It was great, wasn't it? I've really thoroughly enjoyed the end, and I didn't realise how close they were to puncture territory. I knew it was going to be close because they were 20 plus laps on the intermediate tyres, but my goodness me, they've done they did a fantastic job, and possibly because of the battling made it worse. But Finley was very much out of it. He wasn't really battling, so maybe just pushing too hard to get involved in the battle in those final few laps.
Yeah, exactly. It's good he kept his own, because we thought Finley's out of it in no man's land for a long time. There was, at one point it was almost 3-4 seconds, and the determination, strength to keep going. Knowing he had obviously got points, but to push right at the end to try and get more points was great to see, and it shows that anything can happen in these races. Like, points go down to 15th. Milan, I'm sure, didn't think he was going to get any points, and then that mistake by obviously the puncture from Finley, brought him all the way down to, I say, finish 17th in the end, didn't he? So, got to go all the way to the end, because likes of Sam, Sieb, Devil, they retired early. They probably would have got that point, but ultimately, because they retired early, they'd get it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it just shows how things can be turned on the head really quickly. We'll wait and see. Just a couple more minutes to see if anyone will join us through the commentary or for this one in the comms box for this. It doesn't look like we're going to get Silo or Gavroch, unfortunately. But we'll just wait on Raphael for a little bit longer, see if they will jump in. Your driver of the day for this one, because it would be very easy to say Silo or any of the top 3 because they were fine, but we had that really big battle in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue official gained 30. Well, started in 13th, finished in P5. Good result, but I think ultimately for me, Gareth, Silo pretty much had a bit of battling with with Raphael at one point, but ultimately controlled his own and managed to hold it and consistently lap after lap, stay in the lead, and even in tricky conditions. So for me, it's Silo who would get driver of the day.
Well, we do have Raphael. Hopefully, Raphael can hear us through on this one.
Yes, I can.
There we go. So we have our first podium interviews of the season, Ollie, and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Raphael, well done on the podium this evening. Talk us through the start. Didn't have the best start off the line. Is it just a wheel spin off the start, which dropped you down to third place?
No, I blinked when the lights went out. So, and the guy behind was on medium, so he got a bit more traction, but overall still good race.
And how did you find the wet conditions this evening?
I kind of enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I usually don't. I'm usually pretty bad in the wet on this game, but was pretty okay today.
And obviously, the three of you at the front, you were quite spaced out. I think Gavroche maybe catching very, very slowly near the end. But was it difficult to concentrate because ultimately there's no battling. It feels like maybe a qualifying session, lap after lap. Do you prefer the sort of races, or do you prefer them maybe with a bit closer, more battling? Because ultimately,
more battling is definitely more fun. Unless you have a fun engineer, and you're out at front, and you have a nice conversation, then it's all good.
Okay. Fantastic. Well done on your podium this evening. I'll hand it back to
Thank you,
Gareth.
Yeah.
Raphael, just before you go, Raphael, have you you've got another tricky circuit next in Saudi, the Jeddah Corniche circuit. How are you going to approach this one if you're picked for the team? I'm assuming you will be after that performance.
Not take off my inside tire in turn 4, I think.
That's a good start. That's a good start.
Yeah, just survive. I think if I keep my wheel on my car, I'll be fine.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Raphael. I hope you
yes.
Well, hopefully
have a nice
speak
night.
to you next week. Thank you very much.
Yes. Goodbye.
Right then, let's look at the calendar then, Ollie, because next week is the Jeddah Corniche circuit, and it's a tight, tough circuit that not everyone is a fan of.
Yeah, it's mad because it's so it's such a tight and twitchy circuit, but there is still lots of opportunity to overtake. We've seen that fighting coming around the last sector, and they are almost glued to each other, aren't they, through that last portion of the circuit. It's unbelievable to watch, and it's going to be fruity. I'm sure we're going to see some elbows out, like Raphael said. Crucially, not lose your front wheel at turn 4, because we've seen it so many times with drivers losing their front wheel and causing safety cars, which ultimately will happen because of the nature of the circuit. But very much looking forward to Jeddah next week. It is always a good one there.
Yeah, at least. Well, it's just one more week until the new year and 2026. But it's been an incredible race here in Zandvoort, and usually it can sometimes end up being a little bit of a 0-0 draw in a football sense, a board draw. But tonight we've had, even though the top 3 were very much in a series of their own, it felt like the battle for 4th was, a race to be behold anyway. And I'm sure that's going to hit the recaps scene an awful lot through that one. But Ollie, any final words from you on this one?
No, another great race. It's good to be back commentating once again, Gareth, here in CSS with yourself, and very much looking forward to the rest of the season and what Jeddah has to offer next week.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible at Jeddah. I love commentating at that circuit. It always throws up something a little bit different. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please go watch the recaps when they hit the scene, or just watch the main stream back in itself, because they are generally pretty good, I must say so myself, especially the PC and the console side of things, because they're the only things you really need to watch. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next week.